Ever since the release of the Y60 from Hyte, I've always been quite keen on getting my hands on one of their casing. However, the size of the casing was always a small issue, as my desk wasn't really big enough to fit that case. But now, Hyte has released a new and smaller casing, and that is the Y40. Now let's have a look at the Hyte Y40 and go through some of the good things that's been carried forward from the Y60, as well as some differences that I've noticed from the Y40 and the Y60. Now, first thing first is I want to talk about the top and the side panel, in that the amount of attention to details that Hyte have been given to it. And first off, we'll talk about the mesh panels that are found on the panel itself, in that they are designed so that it's in a symmetrical and very nice angular 90-degree pattern, and it makes it look very simple and minimalistic on the casing itself. And it also serves another function in that it allows for mass amount of air to flow through of these little gaps. Now, besides being useful there as well, if we open up the panel, you can see as well underneath it, it acts as a mesh filter as well. So you have a dust filter and panel 2-in-1 without having to need an extra magnetic filter at the exterior of this casing, making it look even more simple. Now, another nice thing about these two panels is that they are both screwless as well and are attached to these little plastic bits over here. You can see all this makes the casing look very simple and minimalistic with no screws protruding out from it. So the next thing that I want to talk about that's carried forward from the Y60 that I personally liked a lot is the riser cable from this casing, in that the riser cable they've given to you is a PCI-e Gen 4 riser cable, which is quite standard these days. However, it is also color-coded to the casing color that you chose, which comes in black, white, and red. And not just that, they also put in the cover with the color that match your casing together as well. All this makes the PCI riser cable that comes with this casing looks like something it was designed from the start for this casing, and not an afterthought that they just thought, we need a riser cable, better just put one in. And no, it looks like it's really part of this casing, and overall it just adds more love and attention to the detail of this casing. Now, something I've noticed as well as I was working with this casing is that once we remove the panel out, you can see that even though the exterior of the panels looks very symmetrical and angular, but once we take out the panels, you can see that there's a lot of different lines that try to point towards one direction of the casing. And all this makes it look like there's different kind of flow and air towards a point of this casing. And if we take out the back panel over here, we can see that it's actually trying to point towards the brand of this casing, which is Hyte at the back, but without making it very loud or unnecessary. All this is all in the background of the casing, actually inside of the casing, and things that you only notice when you're working on this casing. It's very nice. Now let's talk about the biggest changes from the Y60, and that would be its design, where the Y40 now will be a more square build, and it is no longer a dual chamber casing. Because of this, the overall footprint of the case is smaller as well, measuring at 439 mm in length, 240 mm in width, and 472 mm in height. Now, the next big change that was shown at Hyte's website will be the extra clearance for the GPU. This is thanks to the Y40 having an extra PCIe slot, making it 4, and it's good for GPUs today, since they've definitely grown in size this generation. And thanks to this change, the GPU should be able to be better cooled as well, due to having more clearance from the glass. Now, another benefit from the change of the angle design from the Y60 to the more square design of the Y40 is, of course, you'll be able to support longer GPU as well, as it follows a more traditional design of a square case of PC cases. Now, if we shoot over to the front a bit, you get the normal amount of I/O with 2 USB 3.0, 1 USB 3.2 Type-C, and an audio jack combo, audio and mic jack combo, in which Hyte also provides you with a splitter. Now, all those were the specification and the things I've noticed on this casing. But how is the Y40 actually like to to build into as a PC builder? Well, surprise to no one, the Y40 is a very spacious casing with the side glass panel as well as the front glass panel able to be fully removed, giving you ample amount of space to maneuver around and build your PC. Now the side of this casing, which is for the fans over here, is rated to support fan size or AIO size of up to a 240 or 2mm fan / radiator, and it will even support a thicker radiator due to the design of it being at the side. Now the top fan mount as well is able to support up to 360mm fans or radiator as well, and with this configuration of this casing, I don't think you need to worry about your AIO as well as your fans being hit or blocked by your VRM from your motherboard, as the clearance and gap of it is actually quite far apart. Maybe only RAM you need to take away if you're going for very thick radiator along with a very tall RAM. But overall, the building experience on the front of this casing is very straightforward, as it was quite easy due to the enormous space I can maneuver around as I was building my PC over here. Now going to the back of this casing, and how was the building experience at the back? Well, it's pretty good and very easy as well due to quite a lot of space at the back, as well as quite a lot of cable tying points at very appropriate areas, specifically the middle area, so that you can channel all your cable into the center into one direct path below. Now one special mention I would like to talk upon on the Y40 is that this little storage area over here that is, from what I can see, is designed for your front panel connectors. But because of that, you have a little storage area for you to store your excessive front panel connectors cable length. Because on a lot of casing, whenever I finish building a PC, the extra length of the front panel connectors, I'm usually unsure where to hide it. And for this casing, there is a specific spot over there for us to chug it in. I think this is something that a lot of brands from different case manufacturers can take note of, as it is nice to have a place for me to store extra cable for the front connectors over there. Now, Hyte claims that the Y40 is able to support power supply of up to 224mm, but I believe this is only after removing the included 120mm fans below over here, which it's able to support up to a 140mm fan as well. Now another included fan of the Hyte Y40 is at the back as well, so there's two included fans. Now, for power supply that's longer, you can see that we need to remove the bottom fan over here in order to fully fit it in. Otherwise, a normal ATX power supply will be able to fit into it without much problem with the fan next to it. Now, something I think is worth mentioning and pointing out in that this casing's storage option is slightly on the smaller / limited side, in that the Hyte gives you this little tray over here that allows you to put in two 2.5mm SSD or hard disk, as well as one 3.5-inch hard disk. So the selection is two 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch, it's not both. So it's something to take into consideration if you're someone who uses a lot of storage. And if you're planning to use this casing later on and have a lot of storage, looks like NVMe or cloud storage is the way to go. So for pricing, the previous Hyte Y60 was priced at 869 ringgit, whereas the Hyte Y40 is priced at 659 ringgit. So that's our take on the Hyte Y40 casing. It's another great showcase casing from Hyte, with it allowing you to showcase your PC build very easily for all the PC enthusiasts out there, with the included vertical graphic card bracket over here, as well as the PCI-e riser cable that's given with the casing itself. It's also worth mentioning that due to the extra PCI-e cover making it 4 slots, as well as the gone of the angle design from the Y60, it makes it so that it's very easy to support the newer RTX 40 series of graphic card, as they have gained quite a lot in size. So this makes it possible and very easy to work on for the case. So if you were ever on the fence on getting the Y60, but it was just a bit too big and you prefer a more traditional square shaped casing, the Y40 might be the casing for that, in that I would say it is simplified but improved upon from the Y60. Okay, that's all from us today. We hope you enjoyed the video, and a like, share, subscribe and follow would certainly be appreciated, so that we can make more of this kind of video content for you guys. That's all from us. Take care and goodbye.